Well, welcome to the Put Up, everybody. I'm A.K.A. the Wizard, your host, and this is where stories come alive, man, for the first time. Each week, we dive into a different artist's career and put them up, okay? So join me as we explore their journeys and uncover untold insights and spark new inspirations. So let's go, man. Today, we got Bully Hendrix with us. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? What's going
I
on?
got for us.
Uh,
Man, we were just chilling in the background talking about all this stuff. This man's he's on key here with a lot of the stuff that he says. So without further ado, we're gonna get into it. Let's start with your history, bro. Tell us where you come from.
Yeah, so like I was saying before we came on, I'm from a city called Inkster, Michigan. Um, for most people who don't know, it's about 20 minutes outside of Detroit, depending on which part of Detroit you're going to, because it's the east side and the west side and the southwest. So depending on where you're going or coming from, it's about 15, 20 minutes outside of Detroit. Real small city, very humble beginnings. When I grew up there, is everybody knew everybody. So if you could think of like one of the Hallmark movies or something like that, where that's a small town and everybody knows everybody and everybody business is around and everybody talking about it. It's just one of those type of cities.
So what got you into music in that city then?
And that's like the funny part about it. I've always been unconventional in that way of music artists because, like you said, you've been doing music since you were 5, and most people who get into music and eventually go on to be successful kind of had that same background where they were. I was different. I wasn't. I listened to a lot of music in terms of consuming, but in terms of creating music for myself, that wasn't um, on my bingo card. I guess I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to be the president, and then somebody told me I couldn't be the president. So then I wanted to be the pilot, or a lawyer or a judge, and then but I had a group of friends anyway, and one of those people rapped on a professional level, and everybody else just kind of did the drunken freestyle thing, and they would be like, "Come
Somebody
on,
has to be
Billy."
better, right? Somebody always ends up having to be better in the crew.
Yeah, yeah. They come on, Bully, rap with us, and I'm like, "No, man, y'all got to do your thing." Anyways, eventually you start drunk rapping, freestyling, and then it was me and another one of my close friends. And then they like, you guys should do music together. You'd be like to do Outcast, da da da, all that. And so eventually we got into like writing music, and because at first we were only freestyle. If we're not drinking and freestyling, we're not doing it. And then we got into sitting down. We got an opportunity where somebody was like, "Yeah, I want y'all on this song, but you have to write your verses. You can't come here drunk freestyle." So that's what got us to sit down and write. And then once we started doing that, it was kind of like, "Oh, y'all actually good. Y'all might can do something." And then it kind of just went from there. Now I'm probably the only one out of that group of people that still do music. This was
Yeah,
a
so I remember you mentioned just in the back there that you used to have a crew of guys and then you kind of like shot up past and just kept going after everybody, right? So like describe your sound, like what makes you stand out?
I think that it's a combination of being relatable and then also um, doing something that everybody in music don't do, which is still you can make a relatable song full of metaphors and triple entendres and it's like it's catchy, but at the same time they still got to sit and think like, wait, what did he just say?
Mm.
Let me hear that part again. And I think like, and then the believability and conviction behind it, it kind of like people have told me that just like when they listening, they like hanging on to every word to be like, okay, what did he say here, and how does this relate to this, and then to meet me in person and to have it all be like authentic. I
The stuff
think
behind it all. Yeah, that's sweet, man. So like tell us what inspires the ideas for your project then. Like when you go to make a project, what gives you the fire behind it? Is your lifestyle or like what is it behind there that makes you make that thing?
Um, I don't know if this is like a cliche thing, but the projects and the music, it kind of all make itself. Usually, I'm a person like I like to consider myself a visionary. So if I can't I'm talking about from the very beginning. It's a saying. They say, you'll believe it when you see it, but I'll see it when I believe it type of person. So like, if right now we sitting here and I'll be like, I'm gonna work on a new project. Eventually, it might not be today or tomorrow. I might even just start recording music, whatever comes to me, and then eventually I'll see something that will give me a name. Like the XXX3 project is inspired by the fact that I was turning 33 that year. I have two daughters. They are both life path number threes. And so, and it was like 33 days before my birthday. And so then I was like, okay, I want to do a project. What are we gonna call it? Oh, okay. So then the album cover becomes, we do our best to capture the Notorious B.I.G. album cover. Except it's not me on the cover. That's my daughter, my youngest daughter. So when we go that way, that just kind of inspired like the music. So we talk about the transition from even when you look at the story of Christ, you go from 12 to 30, or he dies at 33. So even then, it's like ascended mastery. It's like a lot of things behind turning 33 to me. So I wanted to like capture that with a project. Or you go Scorpio moon. Well, I have a Scorpio moon in my astrology chart. Scorpios are very intense, demanding people, but emotional. So with everything I was going through, also Scorpio is the sign for death and rebirth. So what I was going through was like a death and rebirth in a sense. And then you kind of just, it's just like themes. So most of the albums are inspired by themes. Like whatever theme is kind of prominent in my life at the time that I decided to create the project. Um, we kind of just go with a name from there. And then the song names are usually inspired by whatever, like the first line of the song, or it's usually a line in the song that dictates the name of the song.
Yeah, so I mean, let's touch on that real quick. I'm gonna back up a little bit and go to that spirit. Remember, I said we're gonna make sure we get it into the interview, right?
Right.
About God and the spirituality part of your music that I saw in everything that I looked at when I went through your catalog, right? And I was like, there's a spirituality here. Let's talk about that. Why is that? You told me about
Uh,
it about your environment and surroundings, right?
right. So where I come from, it's a environment of like if you don't believe in something, you'll probably die here. Right. Like I mean, not that might be making it sound too. It's like a super dramatic thing. I don't know, but that's how you feel when you in it, when you're in the middle of it, because you don't. When you look around, you don't see really a way out a lot of times. Especially if you aren't raised around like with consistent validation or affirmation of what you could and couldn't. Like I said, the first thing I wanted to do in life was be the president, and then somebody in my family that I trusted told me I will never be the president. So then that's like, and then you want to be a pilot, and they say no, you probably couldn't be you probably wouldn't be able to do that either. So it's just like hopelessness from an early age of people telling you, and you look around and you see all these people who constantly do the same things over and over, end up in the same situations over and over, and so but the one thing they teach you is church. It's a church on every corner, across the street from the liquor store, across the street from the gas station. So at no point in any situation are you not gonna run into a church. Now, granted, when no disrespect to anybody, when you walk in the church, the person that they're telling you to pray to don't look like you. And then that gives you like an identity crisis of why they don't look like you and everybody else is Messiah, Savior, look like them. And then when you go from that point to, like I told you earlier, situations where you are somewhere, you leave from somewhere, and then somebody died there, or you are in the middle of a situation that your life dictates you to be in the middle of that situation because of the choices you make. But when you're in the middle of it, you don't want to be there anymore. And so making it out of those type of situations. Um,
And we
and
could
then
tell that through your music, right? Like you literally hear it every word that you speak when you're talking, right?
yeah,
How
and
you came to this place, right?
the themes are ever present. Like right, we look at Judas. Right, Judas is a song about uh well, Judas, the person Judas is a person that betrayed Christ, right, as a friend. And I adapt Judas because throughout my life I've encountered many Judases, right? And now while my story hasn't yet ended in a tragic death, a tragic physical death, which Christ, I don't know, we'll call it a physical death because he beat death, came back from it, so we'll call it that. But while I haven't had that catastrophic ending, a lot of things have ended based on the betrayal of people that right. So,
Oh, we might have lost you for a second here. Hold on one sec. Are you back? I think we're good. Yeah, I think it might be good now, though. Well, man, what a story, honestly. And I think I didn't get the name of the song. We're going to take a quick music break and hear something from you now. Get a little experience of Bully Hendrix. World Waiting is the song. I'm just going to write it down here so I have it. World Waiting. Can you hear me still, bro?
I can hear you. It's real crackly, like you talk to a fan, but I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, same thing with you. All right, well, let's roll the song then, and then we'll come back, and hopefully the connection's a little better when we get back.
Before they know they getting ground up, finna make them put their frowns up. The bad guy back outside, everybody getting round up.
What I make you? Good? You're not good. You just know how to hide, how to lie. Me, I don't have that problem. Me, I always tell the truth, even when I lie. So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again.
Walmart will be closing in 10 minutes.
Oh, that's good. Oh my God, we're okay. Well, you can go back to here. It's all good. Oh, okay. We're just waiting for the video feed to come back. We had a few connection issues. I don't know what just happened right there. But just bear with us as we get him back, and we're going to continue on with this interview in a second here. I thought I could hear you. All right, well, let's just jump back into it, man. We should be good to go here. The next question. What's been one of the biggest challenges in your career so far, and how did you overcome it? We'll go right to that.
I think that the biggest problem I've had is man, I don't. It's all a blessing. So
Every
biggest problem
problem turns
maybe
into a blessing.
just listeners, right? Like getting listeners. Like obviously, I mean, if you're not
Promotion.
yeah, promotion. Yeah, we'll say that. And then I haven't gotten over it yet because I still don't know. Only thing I know that you can do is you can hire the same people that the industry use, but you don't got the same money that the industry has. So
Yeah, unless you got a millie that you can just drop on it or something, you know?
yeah. So
Well, you
I'm
know what? So we're working to overcome this issue right now, actually, by doing this. So we're
right,
gonna
and
move forward. We're just trying to connect everybody together if we can, you know?
I want to join like a group, like a rap group or like a music group. We don't know how to be rappers, but I like working with other creatives in a sense. I think usually when that happens, you have in most groups you have a polarizing person, and then that person usually becomes the demise of the group, right? Because people are automatically And it could be like for bad things. We could talk about Bobby Brown and New Edition. That people loved Bobby Brown's music but hated him. But he still was polarizing. So he got talked about more than anybody else in the group, which led to members of the group feeling resentful and led to him feeling bigger than the group, right? And
Yeah, so when it comes to like promotion, my one word that I always say is attention. If you can get attention, you're promoted. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
All of this, right? So on to the next one. What is the one moment in your career that you're most proud of so far then?
I think the most thing that I'm the most proud of, we did this year we did 8,523 minutes listen.
Minutes. That's a lot. So how many? Let's do that in hours. Let's figure it out. How many minutes? You said 8,000 what? Sorry?
523.
523 minutes.
Oh, and that's on Apple Music. I didn't. Spotify was maybe like 300.
142.05 hours. Listen, here, that's amazing, bro. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And it's wonderful to me because what makes me so proud of the moment is because it doesn't translate. Like if you look at my posts, you don't see people commenting. You're not gonna see a lot of people.
And I see like 40 followers on X, stuff like this, and then I go and I look at your numbers. I'm like, wow, he's got a lot of fans. Like we just don't really see him.
Yeah,
right?
You don't see him. So that since it doesn't translate, you will start to feel like you are doing the wrong thing, right? Like if you, especially because every artist, we all will say, "Oh, I do it for the love," but we want people to hear the message as well, especially if you,
What keeps you going then when you see that all the time?
Because I can't not do it. I have this thing where I see the words, right? Like I don't necessarily, I see them, and if I don't express it, it starts to bother me physically. Like I start having headaches and like things of that nature. So it's almost literally something I have to do. It's at this point, wanting to do it is obsolete, and it's a good way for me because I'm a lone wolf. So a lot of the times I'm by myself. It's good for me to be able to vent and say what I need to say without being destructive in the way.
Okay, so let's talk about how we get this stuff out then. What do we use to get it out? How do you actually record music? Like what techniques do you use? What do you rely on to bring this all to life?
I have an Apollo twin, USB.
Nice.
I have Aston Origin. That's what that is.
Decent mic. I like that mic too.
I have the JBL 305.
Nice LSR 305s, yeah.
And I have a desktop computer, and I use Studio One. I have Pro Tools. I don't know. Oh, I won't say I don't know how to mix with Pro Tools. I like Studio One because when I'm done mixing, I can put it in a different screen and master. On Pro Tools, I don't know how to do the mastering part.
I send mine out. So I mean, I master too, but I send it out a lot of the times after I'm done mixing, just to have another set of ears on that stuff, right?
Right, which I'm sure does wonders for the way that you produce music because you know that you send it out and then somebody send you critique back and say, well, we can make it sound amazing, but what about this part? What if we move this here? Right, you get all of that, which is why I was saying I wanted to be a part of a group because you get the
more minds on the whole thing, right? Yeah, it always helps.
And somebody so now you're not putting out what you think is good, which music should be mostly, you should create music that you like. Because then that way, if nobody else is listening to it, at least you are, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing else. But
is there anything unique that you do when you record or anything that most artists don't do? Like anything that is special to you that you would say is like a technique that only you use?
I don't know because I've never been around other artists, but I know that I do meditate before I do music. Like so,
there you go, right there. Yeah, 100%.
It's a real spiritual thing for me in music, because music is also one of the things that when you have nothing else, you got music. It's like there's, there's always something that's tailor fitted to your mood, right? And so that's another thing I try to go for when I create. I try to create music that when if a person was going through this specific thing, they could listen to this and feel better.
Yeah, 100%.
I try not to just feed into like um, the oh, let's kill everybody or let's have sex with every girl we run into. I try not to feed
It's
into
generalizing, you know, like don't be
yeah,
generalizing.
yeah. I try to like let's work on ourselves and make the Most High proud, because that at the end of the day that's what count, or your family or your people, whoever it is for you that like that you don't want to let down. You know what I mean? Like it's gotta be. We gotta go here and do this, because doesn't if I go out here and do this and I die, and I have two kids that they get to grow
Yeah,
up.
man. I mean, when he says this is a very real possibility where you live, right? It's not like where I am, where like I'm safe at night if I go outside walking. Like you literally could get shot if you're out there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah,
Like, you gotta take life seriously. Everything you're gonna think about, do is very critical then compared to me. You know what I mean? Like,
because it's also like because you got to get out the environment. That's the first thing, and it's the worst thing too, because if you are a person that wants to genuinely help people, you don't want to leave the environment, right? You think about Malcolm X. Malcolm X died in New York in front of the people that he wanted to help, right? Imagine how he left New York and went somewhere else. Or you go and you look at young Lil Boosie said it on Glad. Most artists die in the city they from, right? And so your first obstacle is beating the environment. Before 50 Cent is shot in his neighborhood, right? He's already 50 Cent before he gets shot.
man's in the trenches. Well, I think this is a perfect time. We're gonna go to another little music break, and this time I think we're gonna hear one called "Judas" by you.
Yes, Judas.
Bring this track for us. Tell us what it's about.
Judas is obviously it's a track about the pitfalls of betrayal, right? And so what I'm asking is to when you send me some new friends, right? I'm talking to the Most High. I'm saying when you send me some new friends, just make sure they some shooters. And when you send me a new girl, just make sure she's not a loser. They say life is but a dream. My demons look like Freddy Krueger. So the idea is you got a gun that's to protect you from anybody that would deem to harm you. But the thing that you can't protect yourself from is the Judas. So it's Glock protect me from my ops, Most High protect me from the Judas. Because you never know that resentment is building in the person standing next to you.
Man, that shit's biblical. Roll it.
So yeah, Judas. I recorded this in October, I think, and I released it in October, and it was the fastest song to 100 plays on Apple Music.
It's dope.
So.
Sweet.
If you care,
All right, I think we're back. Here we are. I don't know what happened again. You know what? After all this is over, guys, just go look up these two tracks. They're called World Waiting and Judas by Bully Hendrix, okay? You're going to want to go listen to those two. I'm not sure if you just heard it or not. But we're just going to move right on, man. Let's talk about your audience. There's a very small looking audience, but there's more behind the scenes and people listening to your music than we expect. So how do you connect with them, and how do you make your art relatable to them?
I assume that everybody, and maybe this might be a bad assumption, but it's also what keeps because all the music is not centralized to where I come from. Like I got a song called Better Off. And this song is because we hear so much about women after breakups and men trying to get back with women or things of that nature. I did it from the perspective of the woman, right? It's like we better off as friends. It's like we don't work in that way. And the reason why I try to make music like world weighing or things that kind of stand out or that's different from what you would expect somebody that look like me to rap about is because I assume that the people in my audience are like me, right? Because what I want them to do, because what'll happen is people will be cool and then they'll support the music openly. But if we're not cool, they no longer support the music openly. And I think a lot of times, even though it shows up, what I would like to have happen is for them to come and engage with me because I think it'll make me to make better music if I knew what you were potentially looking for going in. Right now, I'm just making all the music that I like, that I think sound good, whatever messages after through my meditation or whatever I see when I'm out that I can relate to or gain inspiration from. I try to create that as like, and that'll forever be the main source of inspiration. But I would like to connect with the audience to deliver music that they like. And again, I'm assuming that the people like the music that I like, I just keep creating that. But I have a song called If I Die Tonight, and this song has been played in Tokyo like a lot of times.
That's dope.
And it's a hood ballad about dying. Like why would people? I don't like the song personally, but why? But people seem to relate to it. And then Spotify, I have a song called It's an outro for the XX3 album, and it's one of my favorite outros. But that song get a lot of play in Mexico, right? So it's like it's a thing.
What do you think is people are taking away from this music? I mean, I was going to ask you, what do you want people to experience in your music? But what do you think people are already experiencing in your music that's drawing them to all these, like listening to it in all these different countries and stuff? What is it within there that they're getting out of it?
I think that it's what I said to you earlier. It was about you telling stories centralized on where you from in Inkster, Michigan, but these places are everywhere, right? So these people they tend to experience some of the same things. And what I've learned about people is everybody wants to experience, but not the experience, if that makes sense. Like
Right there.
right, we look at the president and we say, oh, you should do this, this, and this, and that. And we live vicariously through whoever the president is, but we wouldn't actually want the responsibility of being the president had we been presented with it.
If we give you the control over that button, you want that control over that button? I don't think so.
I don't think we would. But it sounds good to sit on the couch and criticize, right? Like you do the same thing with the music at the top of with the artist at the top of the game. We oftentimes critique them without knowing
They have a hard life, bro. It's not as easy as it looks.
it's not as easy as it looks because you have a responsibility to these people now, right? So, a responsibility that most people don't want, nor would they even have the opportunity to have at any point in their life if you're not doing something that's astronomical. I think that everybody in the NBA is better than the people that talk bad about them that's not in the NBA because you couldn't even get to the NBA, right? Because it's not just about talent. It's not just about talent, which is what world waiting is about. So I got people hating on me, world waiting on me. I'm just trying to stay low key, grateful for everything that I see, right? Because the idea is what I'm telling you is that the focus that takes when everybody around you is going out to party, everybody around you is having children, everybody around you is having the most fun they ever had, but you so dedicated to what you got going on that you skip the parties, you skip out on the parties, you skip out on all the fun stuff to stay and create something that can last for generations and generations and generations, right? And at the release of your first song, no matter who you are as an artist, at the release of your very first song, you become immortalized as a person. You can't die because you have something
I
that will
like that.
live forever.
I like that. Okay,
Right?
so tell me what comes next, bro? What are you working on right now?
I'm in between ideas of if I'm gonna take this music that I got and make a project out of it, if I even can, because the projects are all themed. So I usually any project that you see, usually all that music is recorded together. So it's like a collection of that time in my life. And I have some music. A lot of it has been recorded together, but all of it don't follow a theme. So maybe I'll figure out a way to maybe do like miniature, small 5-song projects and do 4 of those, or um, I'll release them all as singles. But right now we're just in that brainstorming stage where it's like I don't know what to do with it. But so that's the coming next though. In the next couple of weeks, I want to release a couple more songs, especially going into New Year's. I have a really good song I think would do well for like a New Year's party or something, or a New Year's session where you writing out do people still do resolutions?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, I always come up with something that I'm going to try and be better at this year than last year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's where I want to make something like a meditation session song where if you sitting down writing out your resolutions, this is playing in the background, maybe giving you some inspiration on what your resolution could be or how to go about achieving those goals. Because that's what I'm all about. Is in terms of if nothing else, I want somebody if they experience me through music or in person or a random conversation, I want them to walk away from that and being able to say like, oh, he taught me something. Or he gave me a different perspective on like, because I was thinking like this, and then he said this, and now I can understand. Right? If you standing where you are and I'm where I'm at, and we looking at a 6, and I'm like it's a 9, and you like no, that's a 6. Well, I'm hoping to give you perspective to where you could be like, I still think it's a 9, but I can see why he think it's a 6. Right, and then that kind of alleviates the social anxiety or social pressures of disagreement, right? Because it's just perspective. I think, and I say this, and I'm not saying this because I agree with it, but I use this a lot, and people always take it the wrong way. So hopefully nobody take it the wrong way. But if they do, I'm sorry. We say that pedophilia here is wrong, right? But you can't go to India and tell that man that he can't marry that 12-year-old. Right? And if you went there and you tried to do that, they probably kill you. Because to them, there's nothing wrong with it. And to us, everything is wrong with it. Well, at least now, up until whatever time, right? So you say that social norms are usually what's popular, right? Because morally, slavery might have been wrong, but it was the social norm at one point, and you wasn't gonna find too many people that would tell you that you shouldn't do that.
So it depends on environment. Everything's about environment then with everything.
Environment and perspective, right? Because your perspective shapes the way that you go into every situation. If I believe in a higher power and you don't, then me talking about the higher power to you
Kind
falls
of
on deaf
right?
ears. But if I say something to you that you can relate to, even if you don't believe it, you'll say, I can see why you do that. And that's all it's about, right? I don't have to
I
agree
think
with
that's
you.
what we're trying to do in our music too, is we're trying to relate with the listener and have that effect where it's like, oh, now I see your perspective added to what I knew. And now we have a third new thing that we think, both of us. You know what I mean?
Right. See, we benefit from it. We benefit from it, and then collectively, everybody that come in contact with me or you benefit from it. Because now, when I'm talking and I say, "Oh, hey, you know what? Wizard said something that made a lot of sense to me." Da 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 da. I run it down. Now I'm teaching what you taught me,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And then so
And
on.
that snowballs into what we have, you know?
That's how we believe in Santa Claus, right? Somebody told that story to somebody. And then they told it to somebody, and they told it to their kid, and generations later, here we are.
Well, I mean, this is Bully Hendrix, everybody. We're going to wrap up here in a second. It's been a great interview, bro. We learned so much about you and your music. I mean, there's so much to it to unwrap. We could sit here for hours and go over it, right? But let's show the people how can we get involved with your work? Like, where do we go to see it? Where do we go to see when you release things? Like, where do you shout out? Like, where do we find you?
You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook. I got Facebook, Bully Hendrix, Twitter, Bully Hendrix. I don't really do Instagram, TikTok. I'm not like I have pages on both, but I don't use them.
You have a website?
I don't. That's another thing.
Okay, we gotta get you a website.
We
Damn,
definitely
we gotta get you a website, brother.
We don't. We need a website. That's something we got to work on.
We got some things to work on in the future then with you for sure.
Right,
Hey,
and
you know what? We
then
didn't know unless we had this interview today anyway, so we can work. Bro. Don't worry.
And follow. You can follow me on Spotify. You know, Spotify got the follow feature. So, whatever your DSP is, you can follow on there. It's Bully Hendrix on all of that. And then I think
And I think below on the video on YouTube here on the live stream, actually right down there, you can see all of my links, all of your links. I think we put everything we could find for like Spotify and X and anything that we could find for you right down there too. So people can go right there to find your stuff too.
Appreciate it.
Dude, it's been great. Thank you for coming on today.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And I hope everybody else watching had a great time today too. This concludes the official interview, but we're gonna stick around maybe and see if there's anybody that has any questions or anything in the chat here. I'm not sure. Let's have a little look. Is that it for the live stream then? Just kill it.